All right, ladies and gentlemen, the hour of 1:30 having arrived, we'll ask Chambers if you could please come to order. Again, if the Chambers will please come to order. Thank you very much. And we have item 170, we're picking up from our most recently recessed meeting, which is the roll call. So we'll ask the clerk to please call the roll and establish the presence of a quorum for our meeting.
Supervisor Ellenberg. Here. Supervisor Wasserman. Here. Supervisor Cortese. Vice President Chavez. Here. And President Simiti.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. The presence of a quorum having been established, we're going to go to the Pledge of Allegiance, item 171. So we'll ask all who are able to please rise, join us in the pledge, which will be led today by Supervisor David Cortese.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. That takes us to item 172, which is public comment. Public comment is that portion of our agenda set aside for comment by members of the public on non-agendized items that are properly within the jurisdiction of our board. We have 7 or 8 cards today, colleagues, so let me ask folks if you can, if you would please line up. Scott Largent, to be followed by Pamela Nicholson, to be followed by Mike O'Connor. Come on up, folks. To be followed by Meta Medina, to be followed by Brenda, and forgive me, Brenda, I can't read the last part of your name, but the first part is Egber something or other, forgive me. And then Trina Morin and Mark Trout. Come on up. Mr. Largent, you're up first, and we have 2 minutes set aside. Come on up.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you. We have a banner out there today. I take a lot of pictures of this stuff because it's free artwork. So what I can do is chop them up and I can put them on my videos that I'm putting up on YouTube. We get great logos out in the hallway. One of these newer signs out there from the Office of Immigrant Relations, it's a very interesting, neat banner. I don't know if you've seen it out there, and it kind of goes through the timeline of everything. Now at the end, there's a little child, and she's holding up a sign, and it says, "End Family Separation." And there's a little girl, and it's holding the sign, and that kind of caught me off guard right there. It's same with all these other pamphlets that I told you guys about a couple of days ago. We're really, really protecting immigrants in our county, and we are not doing this for our own citizens. We're not doing that. This brochure right here would have been great to hand out to anybody that was arrested, anybody that goes to the public defender's office, but we are only going to hand these out to, you know, I guess what I'm getting at is everybody deserves these services the same. So how are we just going to treat one segment of Santa Clara County different than the other? I don't get that. Why? We need to start working on getting brochures and literature out like this to everyone. So when are we going to start changing that in the public defender's office over there? Are you guys going to do a field trip over there and maybe wipe the dust off of all the pamphlets in there? Maybe experience the free water? Maybe just kind of do undercover boss. Maybe dress down one day and just walk over there and sit in that lobby and watch how unhappy Santa Clara County is with their representation. I love being over there because I get to talk to these people and figure out how frustrated they are. And my suggestions to them are go find a lawyer somewhere else, because you're just going to get sucked into a dragnet, into a diversionary program if you're innocent or not. So thank you.
And next speaker, please. Come on up. Pamela Nicholson, welcome.
Hello. I work for the Department of Tax and Collections. I'm a member of SEIU 521. And what I really have are a couple of statements and a question. I have noticed that employees are being bullied more and more by supervisors. I've gotten 7 calls from different people in different departments, I'm a steward, asking me what the union can do, and we can do nothing. They have to go to management, and they're going to management, but it's their supervisors who are bullying them, and as they go up the chain, they're being ignored. Or they're being given a book that says, you must forgive them because you're taking it too personally. This is from conflict resolution. They're being ignored. One woman tried to steal an idea from her employee. She got stopped, but she also got promoted. So This is constant, and yet we're being called bullies when we're stewards and we go up and we stand up for our members. We're not allowed to be equals to management. We're supposed to obey them, duck our heads, and say, yes, it's okay to abuse our members. And that's one. And the second thing is, why aren't we important? I listened to the budget hearings on Wednesday, and you were really great about weed abatement and other places that needed help. But we're in negotiations and we're getting ignored. Management has offered one thing consistently and will not move. We're expected to accept things that mean we can't afford to live here, we can't afford our homes or rent. Why aren't we important? Why don't you make an honest call to negotiate? That's it. Just, we're important too. Thank you.
And our next speaker, please. Come on up. Mike O'Connor.
Good afternoon, supervisors, counselors, public. My name is Michael O'Connor. I work for the Public Guardian's Office. I'm a state administrator, SEIU member, and steward. I love the law. Call regulations, statutes, but put it all together in law. I love the law. It's a wonderful, living, breathing thing. When I started work, I noticed some irregularities in my department, and as such, I've reported that here's some laws that we might not be following. Here's some things that we should look at. This is in 2018. I actually reported we should technically be calling APS on ourselves because we're not exercising the duties that we need to provide to our clients. That ended up in a meeting where I was yelled at and things like, we have a lot of other clients, and et cetera, happened. Fast forward again, March 7th, I was called into a meeting, 5 minutes notice with 2 members of management, and I was accused of costing the county $10,000. I didn't do it. It was one of the people that was in there who actually signed off on something that cost the county money. But there's just nothing. I was called callous. I was told to show more empathy, not towards our client, but to our managers. And I don't quite understand that. I've filed for mileage reimbursements, lost, gone. Oh, we need a copy of it. There's a lot of things that are occurring. I'm just one story. I'm just one person. There's 11,000 of us that have a lot of us have very similar stories. We're asking for help, and we're asking for help on how to negotiate all of our jobs. I want to keep working here. I love working here. I would love to afford to keep doing so. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And our next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Maite Medina, and I'm a public health nurse here in Santa Clara County. I'm also in SEIU 521. I work in the Communicable Disease Prevention and Control Program here with 4 other intelligent, passionate, and really hardworking public health nurses. And what we do is we prevent and control outbreaks of diseases like measles, pertussis, salmonella, and hepatitis A, B, and C, just to name a few. And I'm here to make you guys aware, if you're not already, and also the community aware of a problem that we're having with the public health nurses in Santa Clara County. And that problem is that we can't seem to keep them here in Santa Clara County working for our community. Although we are educated professionals, we're registered nurses with an additional public health nurse certificate. Many public health nurses are looking elsewhere, either other counties or even hospitals, and going there once they gain experience here in Santa Clara County. And I want you guys to consider, if you haven't already, to support our realignment proposal that we have submitted through negotiations to you guys already. Public health nurses deserve respect that they're getting elsewhere, clearly, because they're leaving the county and going to the hospital. And while some might argue that public health nurses that leave Santa Clara County are doing so because they lack the true passion, you can't pay bills with passion. Thank you.
Thank you. And next speaker, please come on up.
Hi, I'm Brenda. I'm also a public health nurse with MATE, and I've been in this county for 20 years serving the community. I'm one of 80 public health nurses, and you've heard plenty of our testimonies over the last few months. But I wanted to reiterate our role that we serve the public, we provide prevention to prevent spread of disease, limit outbreaks, we provide health education to families, we encourage them to have regular health checkups, and that'll decrease emergency room visits and urgent care visits. We also provide vaccination for school children, travel immunization for adults, flu shots in the evening for working adults. We also follow up with any and all outbreaks, West Nile, meningitis, measles, TB, syphilis among babies, and many other communicable diseases. We also help children and youth in the foster care, those who are medically fragile children, families and caregivers of substance exposed and other medically high-risk infants. We also serve seniors with complex issues. The reason I'm reiterating what we do is that we feel that our realignment proposal has not been adequately reviewed, and so we're hoping you would take the time to review it. As the cost of living increases here in Silicon Valley, our pay has not increased. And so that's what we're asking today, that you look at the proposal and to review what we do for the community. We feel that it's long overdue. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Let me ask our next speaker to please step up. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Trina Moring from the DA's office. I'm a chief steward over there. I'm up here to talk about dignity and respect within our office, and I know that it goes countywide. In approximately 2.5 months, I've had 2 disciplinary cases, a 3rd case regarding reasonable accommodation. That person was forced out. They felt intimidated. They quit the county because of the intimidation tactics and the fear. I have 1 case that has resolved, that has resulted in termination. That case, in trying to prove it, they actually took photographs of that person's desk space to prove their case that they're hiding work or they're misplacing work somewhere else. Just these general accusations. In a case right now that's on the burner, similar kind of situation. They've taken photographs. That's never happened in the history. I've been there for almost 20 years. That's never happened in the history, and I'm asking for dignity and respect and treatment. The other thing is, these disciplinary cases, the DA's office likes to not only have the supervisor, but they have an investigator with a weapon that actually assists the supervisor and walks our members out the door like they've created some egregious act. I don't think that's appropriate. We're there to serve the community, to work for Santa Clara County, and to end it again. I would like to see dignity and respect. So thank you.
Thank you. And next speaker, please. That's Mr. Trout.
You know, I'm really glad that we salute the flag because that opens up a door of utterance about God, this God that we all acknowledge that we are under, and indeed we are. He's here. He's everywhere. He's invisible. He's real. He's inspired the people to write the words they wrote in the Word of God. And the greatest prayer, in my opinion, in the Old Testament would have to be in Daniel 9 when Daniel prayed, because it was the greatest response ever given, by far. And it actually gave the year, not the day, but the year that Christ would be anointed. And Daniel prayed, and he said, "Oh my God, incline thine ear and hear, open thine eyes, and behold our desolations in the city which is called by thy name. For we do not present our supplications before thee for our righteousnesses, but for thy great mercies, the sure mercies of David. O Lord, hear. O Lord, hearken. O Lord." And we went on and on. The angel Gabriel interrupted his prayer. I hate to be interrupted, but what a blessed interruption that was. And Gabriel touched him, and he said, "I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding And he gave them the revelation as to when Christ would come. Now, it was 7 weeks and 62 weeks. That was 483 years. We all agree a year comprises what? 365.2422 days. So you multiply that by 483, you get 176,411 days. If it was the last day of the year, then that's when he was baptized. We don't know if it was the last day of the year, but we know this was a sure prophecy, even recorded in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Think about this. It was recorded in the Dead Sea Scrolls by Jews that lived around 250 years after Daniel, about 250 years before Christ. They quoted the scripture. They embellished it by saying it fell in sequence.
Forgive me, Mirta Mirabel, Zeb Feldman, Francine Gonzalez, and Armas. If you would line up, please. Welcome.
Hello. My name is Mirta Mirabal, and I've been a county employee for 31 years. We have been here all week sharing with you the struggles that we are having, as well as the struggles our fellow union members are having. The cost of living and working in the Bay Area is taking its toll on the workers of Santa Clara County. We have shared how some of our members are struggling with finding and keeping an affordable place to live for themselves and their children. Some are living in hotels, in travel trailers, some are even couch surfing. We have shared stories of our members struggling to pay the high cost of childcare, some with special needs children who have to juggle and impose on family members to be able to have childcare so they can come to work. We have also shared stories of unacceptable work conditions our members are enduring because of the issues of bullying, harassment, and intimidation have not been seriously addressed. We have also shared how much time our members are having to drive to get to work because they can't afford to live in the county that they work for. We have shared that the experts are saying that a living wage in the county and the country, is $21 an hour, but as you know, in Silicon Valley it is much higher, and yet we have county employees that don't even make $21 an hour. Many of our members are proud to serve our community and be able to help some of the neediest in our society. We need your help to be able to continue to do that, or we are going to be recipients of the very services we provide for the community. Please help us maintain our dignity by asking your negotiating committee to give us a fair and decent contract so that we can continue to provide for our families. Please show us respect of having the negotiating team come to the table and bargain in good faith. We are not asking for a handout. We are asking for a hand up. We stood by the county when you needed us. We now need you to return the favor and make sure that the employees of Santa Clara County get a fair contract. Thank you.
And folks, we have rules of the board that specifically prohibit applause, demonstrations of support or opposition. Appreciate it if you will respect those. Thank you. I understand people want to communicate their support and opposition, but we want to try and keep it a place where everybody feels comfortable to walk up, including Zeb Feldman if he's in the room, or Francine Gonzalez, or Armas.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Armas. I'm a medical assistant. I'm also an assistant chief shop store with our union. And I'm here to tell you that I'm almost out of my voice because we've been screaming, yelling, chanting since Wednesday and today at Valley Medical Center. And I think there should be no need for us to be screaming and yelling and chanting whatever is obvious. You know, the 1% that the county is offering us is not okay, because taking into consideration what my coworkers have already mentioned, you know, the cost of living. We've been screaming and yelling for a better way of living. We've been chanting and screaming for better wages, better everything, and for the best, for the good of our community and for ourselves. Some people have to travel back and forth 1 or 2 hours from here. We've been chanting really hard for respect and dignity. And now that I talk about respect and dignity, I'll let you talk about our sister hospitals, O'Connor, St. Vincent de Paul, and St. Louis, where management has they don't have nothing to stop them from bullying. We were informed by the members of our negotiating table that they were trying to have the county sign a side letter stating that they're going to address that, you know, that they need to educate their managers. I know they're used to be in the private sector, but now that we're in the public sector, they need to learn our content. They need to learn that there are rules to be followed, and they need to learn that every employee has a specific job description, and then just can be placing them around and asking them to do whatever. I like to ask for all of you to please consider this and think about, there's no need to yell, there's no need to scream. It is obvious that we need a fair raise. I thank you very much.
Thank you, and we have 2 cards left, and they're from Francine Gonzalez and Zeb Feldman. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm Francine Gonzalez. I'm an SEIU member, and I work for the Department of Child Support Services. And I've worked for Santa Clara County for 25 years, and as a resident, I know how expensive it is to live and raise a family here, especially as a single parent. I pay my property taxes, which are astronomical and a major portion of my income. Yet you continue to ignore our request for a fair contract. Instead, you insult us with 1%. A fair contract that would allow county employees who work hard for our community to live here. Please, before you take your vacation in July, talk to your negotiating team and tell them that they need to be serious about this. We need a fair contract and make it a priority. Thank you.
And our last speaker, I believe, under public comment is Zeb Feldman. Mr. Feldman, welcome.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. Zeb Feldman, SEMA OE3. SEMA is currently paying 16% to their pension, and most county employees pay only 4%. This causes many issues for SEMA and for the county, including issues with promotion, step placement when a SEMA member, when someone does promote, especially from line unions, and outside recruitment when folks who come into the county get sticker shock at how much of their salary is actually being deducted. We asked for this disparity to be addressed in ITCC discussions because that was a class study that involved about 500 of our members. And we were told the appropriate venue for this discussion was bargaining. Now that we're in bargaining, we need to see SEMA brought to parity with others in the county. Specifically for ITCC, who had that salary survey I just mentioned, they were set to the outside market with no consideration for the higher contributions. So this harms SEMA as we're paying 12% more than others when compared to the outside market, but that's not accounted for. In ITCC, we were also told that managers do not need to make more than those who they supervise, as they may not be qualified to do the work that their subordinates do. So this has created situations where managers are in fact making less than those that they supervise. Item 64, coming to Tuesday's regular board meeting, involves a 19% raise to executive classifications that were created less than 2 years ago in IT. If SEMA can make less than those who supervise, perhaps executives can as well. Please support all SEMA members to be treated equally by reducing our contribution to pension to what majority of the county is paying, and please have ITCC salaries set accounting for our PERS contribution. Lastly, as I mentioned, if SEMA can make less than those who they supervise, please be consistent and treat all employees the same. Thank you.
Thank you all, and for those of you who work here at the county, we thank you for your work here as well. Colleagues, that takes us to item number 173, which is the overview from the administration. And at that time, we take the opportunity to receive any new and/or updated information. I do have one card from Cole Cameron on this item. Mr. Cameron, would you like to come up and share your thoughts with us?
Thank you very much, Chair and everyone else here. I'm Cole Cameron. I'm part of the Campbell CERT team. I'm an instructor with the city, finally getting them rolling along, catching up with us in the county. It's been really good to have my own representative join us in one of our crime prevention CERT evenings right in the middle of that rainstorm, and have her share her own personal story, how she reconnected with some of her neighbors, which I think is really key. As so many of us get home, shut the door, and close down. So that reconnection in the neighborhood is really important. And then getting each one ready, like what do you have in your purse or briefcase right here, or in your office, or in your car, for your family and yourselves. Starting with yourself is just the example is taking care of yourself. because it's going to be neighbors helping neighbors in that first 36 hours or so. It's not going to be me as a CERT, much less fire, police, Dana from his OES team, or Ray for the city. It's going to be us, person to person. So reconnecting to neighbors, rebuilding that neighborhood that I had in my little old farm town is something I bring here to Silicon Valley, being a budgeteer for a long time. So I understand schedules. I understand that most of the budgets are already taken care of. And so I've had a really great outreach and conversation with some of you and your fabulous staff, and I look forward to more of that so that we can not only take care of more in this area next budget cycle, but maybe take a look at some of the possibilities of small pieces of reserve in each of your areas in the meantime. Thank you very much for all your service and your teams, and I look forward to more conversation. Thanks again.
Thank you, sir. Colleagues, item 173 is to receive the report. There is a voting panel on our screens. If someone would like to make the motion to receive the report, this would be the time and place. Thank you, Supervisor Wasserman. Is there a second on the motion? Thank you, Supervisor Cortese. So we have a motion and a second. I'm looking to see there do not appear to be comments or questions on this item, so we'll ask all 5 members to please vote on the screen. Now that all 5 members have, we'll ask the clerk to please display the results, and we have a 5-0. And Mr. Ituria, I hope that was okay by you, because I don't think we turned to you and asked for comments. But we will go to the next item, and the next item, colleagues, is item 174, which is to consider proposed modifications to the county's fiscal year 2019-2020 recommended budget to produce the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. I do have one card from Catherine Lucero. Why don't we wait, Ms. Lucero, and hear if there is a report from Dr. Smith or Mr. Ituria before we ask you for your comments, if that's okay. Thank you.
I'll do the report on this. You have before you actions A through G, which implement the final budget, which include recommendations from the recommended budget delivered to you in May, and also the revised recommended budget delivered to you and discussed during June in our budget hearings. You have the implementation actions, which deal with everything that was requested from the board and suggested. And this budget is a budget that now is balanced with all of those concerns addressed. We are legally required, that is to say the county is legally required to have an approved balanced budget before the beginning of the next fiscal year. And this is your opportunity to approve it in final format.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go now to the members of the public who wish to speak, and we do only have the one speaker, so let me welcome you up at this time.
Hi, honorable board members, county executive. I'm Catherine Lucero, Superior Court Judge, and I wanted to make a clarification on a request. It was for a court coordinator, and I had submitted it as $114,000. $114,838, and I wanted to make sure that you understood that was per year for 3 years versus over 3 years. And I was told that Wednesday or at the hearings that may have been misinterpreted, so I wanted to clarify that that was the request. It is a position that as a per annum request. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you for being with us. Let me turn first to our staff, Dr. Smith and Mr. Ituria, see if there's any clarification or concern.
The request is in the budget documents that are before you as an annual request for one-time funding to be revisited again next year. And that's standard process. We don't budget for multiple years. We budget for 1 year at a time.
And I'm turning to Supervisor Cortese now.
I think there was 2 points, one of them being multiple years or not, and the other that I'm hearing Judge Lucero ask about, which is pretty easy to clarify is that it was an FTE fully funded for the year as described in the memo. So it's not 114 divided by 3.
Right.
It's 114 each, per annum.
Yes.
That's how it was described
Yes.
in the memorandum that's now included.
Okay. So this time next year, if, then I can come back.
This time next
basically.
year, as I understand, what we would see if the position's included in the base budget that the executive releases, then so be it. If it's not, there would be an opportunity to discuss
All
it
right.
again.
This time next year, we'll be looking for, to the state, which is currently debating the possibility of additional funding. If not, we'll be, coming forward with another funding mechanism for another year.
Thank you so much.
And Your Honor, before you step away, I see that Supervisor Ellenberg has a comment or a question as well.
I think my question is for Dr. Smith, but I'm not clear why an FTE position is being funded 1 year at a time as opposed to just adding and coding the position.
Well, all FTEs are funded 1 year at a time, and basically
standard?
every year we have to take action to refund them.
Okay, I
Not
thought this was a
refund
more
them,
unique
to fund
situation.
them again, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, once it ends up in the base, then it's still has to be funded in the base.
Got it. Thank you.
All right.
Supervisor Cortese, your mic is still on.
No, this was brought forward as an operational referral, not an inventory item for a
Right.
3-year grant. It was brought forward as
Right.
in coordination with the executive's office as he just described. So,
Judge, before you step away, let me try it this way. Dr. Smith, I'm looking at my colleague Supervisor Wasserman. Is he only funded for 1 year?
Yes.
All right, just so you know that you're in good company, Your Honor, all right? Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank
And next year, we're going to defund him. No.
So, what was that?
Here?
Doc?
He said day to day.
Day to day, I see. All right, good to know. All right, well, we do have the voting panel on our screens, colleagues. That is the only card we received. So if there's a motion to approve, and there is from Supervisor Wasserman, I will ask if there's a second. There is from Supervisor Ellenberg. Now I'll ask if all 5 members will please vote on the screen. And again, this is to approve item 174, which is the proposed modifications to our county's recommended budget. And at this point, all 5 members have voted. The motion carries on a 5-0 basis. So the motion again has been approved unanimously. And that takes us to item 175, which is to adjourn this meeting. And so without objection, I do see that we do have a comment from Mr. Wasserman.
Thank you. I just want to use this opportunity, as I screwed up last year, as my former Chief of Staff, John Gibbs, pointed out upon his departure. And I wanted to thank all of my staff, and I want to thank all of administration, and I want to thank all of the employees and citizens that participate each year in making Santa Clara County the greatest county in the nation. Thank you.
All right. Then it's rare that I think I can speak for all 5 members of the Board of Supervisors, but I think we'll give you all a ditto on that. And without objection, Dr. Smith, your light is still on.
Oops.
Okay, thank you. Then without objection and seeing and hearing no other comments, truly thank you to you all. We are adjourned.
This is the ordinance list report for the Board of Supervisors meeting of Friday, June 14th, 2019. Item number 174B, introduction and preliminary adoption of salary ordinance number NS-5.19.123, amending Santa Clara County salary ordinance number NS-5.19, implementing actions taken by the Board of Supervisors relating to the Executive's fiscal year 2019-2020 recommended budget as revised during the budget hearing. Item number 174C, introduction and preliminary adoption of salary ordinance number NS-5.19.124, amending Santa Clara County salary ordinance number NS-5.19, implementing actions taken by the Board of Supervisors relating to the reorganization of positions from the Finance Agency to Technology Services and Solutions Department. Item number 174D, introduction and preliminary adoption of salary ordinance number NS-5.19.125, amending Santa Clara County salary ordinance number NS-5.19, amending actions taken by the Board of Supervisors relating to the reorganization of positions from Technology Services and Solutions Department to the Office of the County Executive. Item number 174E, introduction and preliminary adoption of salary ordinance number NS-5.19.126, amending Santa Clara County salary ordinance number NS-5.19, implementing actions taken by the Board of Supervisors relating to the reorganization of positions from the Office of the County Executive to the Social Services Agency. Item number 174F, introduction and preliminary adoption of executive leadership salary ordinance number NS-20.19.01, amending Santa Clara County executive leadership salary ordinance number NS-20.19, implementing actions taken by the Board of Supervisors. This concludes the ordinance record list report for the Board of Supervisors meeting of Tuesday, June 14th, 2019.